Fantasy Mania 2. The War on Valademkin City. Chapter 25. It seemed like everything had went silent. Sibilio and the others had watched as the tower began to break apart. Soon the top crumbled and fell. Sibilio flew back as fast as he could to avoid being smashed from tons of rebel. Then bursting out from one side of the tower was a gigantic mechanical hand with arms as long as 100 feet. They didn't see this coming at all. Soon the other side of the tower collapsed, and pushing itself up onto its feet was a 300-foot-tall robot made of rusted steel and hydrologic pumps. This thing was way too big and powerful to take down. Soon Sibilio gave the signal again, and all of his people flew up into the air and surrounded the robot. They then released multiple balls of fire in hopes that they would find a weak spot. But the robot wasn't phased. Archadius then spoke through the speaker and said, "It's over." He then began to make his way out of the fortress and into the forest nearby. Sibilio tried to study the robot for any way inside of it, but there didn't seem to be any. Soon Archadius lifted one of the arms out across the sky and pulled back the controls. Then several missiles were launched directly at the Krees trying to attack. Several of them had been hit and fell dead onto the ground below. Rainopolis knew this wasn't a good idea. He was getting upset with his father more and more. Then Sibilio flew high into the air and made his way closer to the cliff by the ocean. Then Archadius had seen him and directed its arm in Sibilios' direction. Rainopolis had no idea what he could do at this point. More missiles were launched, but this time Sibilio was smart. He flew down and under in between the robot's legs, causing the missiles to hit the ground. Sibilio flew next to his son and said he thinks his plan is working. What plan? He thought. You'll see. Then he flew up into the air again and Archadius saw him. So you think you can escape my attacks, Hua? Try to escape this. Then the panels on the robot's chest began to open up and a warhead was seen. Rainopolis flew up into the air and so did the others. Sibilio wasn't going to run away. He still had a plan. Then the warhead began to beep with a red light blinking. A laughing sound came from within the robot. Sibilio looked back at his people and knew they were expecting him to do whatever it took to destroy this man and his machine. He then flew behind the robot and the robot turned around facing Sibilio. Then just as the nuclear warhead was launched from its chest, Sibilio released a powerful blow of concentrated fire directly at it, causing it to explode, sending the part of the cliff to break off, and the entire robot fell along with it. Sibilio was hit by the shock wave of the bomb and fell along with everything else. Rainopolis couldn't believe it. Did he just witness his father's death? Find out later on in Fantasy Mania 2. The War on Valademkin City. To be continued.